What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JB, and we are here tonight with a review for Real Housewives of Potomac Season 6, Episode 4. And the episode is titled Going Ham at the Pajammy Jam. Now, before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, then what are we doing, you guys? We're still going out on a date, and you're still making me pay for it at the end of it. Do me a big favor, you guys, and hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, light up all the buttons on the channel, you guys. Also, go over and subscribe to the Planner channel. Link is in the description bar below, as well as my social media if you guys would like to follow me there. Now, without further ado, let's talk about this episode, shall we? All right, you guys, so we're going to start up with Miss Saturn's Rings herself, Giselle. So we see Saturn's Rings as she's going to meet up with her good Judy Cow, right? You know, the one that always does her hair, which when you think about it, is he responsible for those looks in her interviews with the producers? Because if he is, friend or not, fire his ass. You know what? Fire whoever does your hair, fire who does your makeup, fire who styles you, especially in this newest look with the producers, with this loud ass dress on. Fire them. So Saturn's Rings, she is doing a photo shoot because, you know, she and boy Robin, they have started a podcast, which I have not listened to the podcast. Now you guys can let me know if you guys have listened to, you know, Saturn's Rings and boy Robin's podcast. Let me know what it's like. Haven't listened to it, don't tend to listen to it, never going to listen to it. So then we have Saturn's Ring. She's talking to Cal about this non-existent relationship between she and Jamal. She says that, you know, she went to Atlanta maybe twice, right? I'm just like, really? Girl, we know that relationship was a fake, a fraud. It was just for a storyline. I wish she would say that instead of trying to say, you know, her needs were not being met. He was like, I don't know what you mean by that. She says, you know, not sexually, just me, you know, just him being present in my face. Whatever, Saturn's Rings, don't really care. So then she brings up the fact that Mia got her clit done, and I'm like, why would you just randomly bring up this woman's business out of the blue? Very, very odd. Like, I was just confused by that. But she didn't. And then she talks about the fact that Mia and Wendy got into it. Wendy, you know, how she was trying to dismiss her, and the fact that, you know, Mia called her a simple-minded woman or whatever she called her. I'm like, how is this any of his business? Was really confused about it, right? So then not Mia, but Robin, boy Robin, and Saturn's Rings were talking about Mia and the fact that they want to get to know Mia outside of Karen, which I get that. I do. We gonna talk about that in a little bit, you guys, but I do get what they were saying, and it could be a bit of delivery. You're sitting here texting this woman saying, "Hey Mia," what you could have said, Saturn's Rings, was, "Hey Mia, you know, Robin and I are sitting here talking, and we just realized, hey, we don't really know too much about Robin, right?" And you could have left it. You could have said that. So we would like for it just to be the three of us, you know, to go out, have a drink, and get to know each other. And you could have left it at that. Now, if she said, "What about me bringing Karen?" you could have then said, "Well, hey, you know, I already know Karen. You know, Karen and I have our issues. I want to get to know you outside of Karen." You could have said that instead of, you know, telling her not to bring Karen. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I've already kind of discussed it, but we'll talk about it a little bit more, right? So then we later see in the episode where Saturn's Ring, she took Grace to take her driving test, and unfortunately Grace did not pass the test, which I really felt bad for her. I thought when she came out, I thought she was joking with them that she, you know, didn't pass it, but she really didn't pass the test, and I really felt bad for her. Like, it took me back to when I took my driving test, and I'm 32 years old, and I took my driving test. Oh, Jesus. I took my driving test back in what? 2000 and... I think I took my driving test in 05, 06, something like that. It was 06. No, it was 05 when I took my driving test in 2005. I remember. Took my driving test in 2005. I remember it like it was yesterday. Got out of school. I had been studying my test. I had been studying for my test since 2004. I learned, I started in '04, and I took my test just, no, I think I took my test in '04. I took my test because I was 15. Yeah, I started taking my test I took my test in 2004, and I got my permit in 2004, and then I had to renew my license every year after that. 2004. Yeah, because I was 15 at the time. No, it was '05. 16. 16 years old. So I had to think about it, 16. So it was '05. So I remember like it was just, my mom picked me up from school. She's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Not really." I had so many nerves in the pit of my stomach. I was like, "What if I fail?" She's like, "If you fail, you'll be able to go back." But see, with here in Texas, you can go back the next week. You had to wait a while before you could go back and retake your test. So I was so nervous. But when I went in there, the one was like, when I signed in, the lady's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "Absolutely." She was like, "Don't be." She said, "You'll be fine." I'm like, I wanted to ask her, "How in the hell do you know?" But lo and behold, I was fine. I passed my test with flying colors. I think I may have missed, I think on my test I missed one or two, because I actually passed with I think it was 80 or a 90. Might have been, I actually think it was a 90, 90 something. Because I didn't miss that many questions. I missed maybe one or two at the most. I can't remember exactly, but I know I passed with flying colors. I know I didn't even, it wasn't no barely passed it. I aced that mug. Sorry, Grace, but better luck next time, right? So let's move on. All right, you guys, next up, let's talk about Hey Arnold Stewie. Oh, God, I don't want to talk about her and the Hobbit. So we see Hey Arnold, Stewie, and the Hobbit, right? So they're going out for dinner. And, oh, God. Hey Arnold, Stewie is, well, actually, the Hobbit and the Troll tells Hey Arnold, Stewie that, he is going to go into a new venture in life. I was like, oh, what is this venture going to be? Well, the Hobbit has decided to go into making movies. I was like, oh, what are you going to make? Porn? You're going to make a porn movie where you're grabbing another man's ass? So, yeah, that's what's going to be the movie. Hey, it's the Hobbit grabbing the ass of a producer and a cameraman. Like, is that what you're going to grab? Is that what it's going to be? Then she was like, but what do we know about the music in the movie industry? Like, this is a big thing where we could potentially lose a lot of money, and we already have one child, and we're expecting another one any day now. I'm like, there's go to Hey Arnold Stewie that I don't like. Girl, just say with this Hobbit and Troll that it's about the money. Oh God, I just cannot imagine. I don't even want to think about it, them having sex. But she's apprehensive about it. He's not. He's saying he's done his research. Have you really? You do know that the movie industry is not like, if you so what he wants to do is he wants to find, basically I think what he wants to do is he wants to be the production company. So, which I think he wants to be the production company, but he wants to be like a, I have it in my head how he wants to do it. It's kind of like contracting, I guess you would say. They basically go out and find the directors, the casting crew, and all that, and work with them. So basically, I guess, so to speak, he wouldn't be putting a lot of money into it. I don't know. Don't care, to be quite honest with you. You're going to fail miserably. I don't want to say that, but I just feel like this is not going to be the best venture for you, buddy. But hey, I don't like you, so I don't really give a shit. Period, point blank. And then, Hey Arnold Stewie, she's talking about, but, she doesn't want this to draw a wedge between them like Oz did. Okay. The wedge that's between you two is the fact that your husband, never mind, we're not going to even go there. Yes, we are going to go there. The wedge between you guys is the fact that your husband does not keep his penis in his pants, that he likes other men, and why don't y'all, what? Let's move on, shall we? All right, guys, next up, let's talk about Karen. Now, it wasn't much with Karen in this episode, so we see Karen, she's at home, cooking, burning up the food. Girl, how did you burn the food and you standing right there? Now, I could see it if maybe you were in a different room and you forgot about the food, but damn, you were literally standing right there on FaceTime with Raven. and you still managed to burn the food. And then even in one scene, you flipped the food. So how in the hell did you burn it? I was confused. Like I'm like, how in the hell did you manage to burn the food and you're standing right in front of the food? I never understood that. Like, don't understand how I never understand how people can burn their food and they literally right there in the same room with the food. Do you just go up? Do you just be like thinking about other shit and just say, "Hey, fuck my food. Oops, there go my food. My food is burning." Like, what? So she's talking to, like I said, she's talking to Raven. So Raven is living in New York now, and Kieran tells us that Raven has a corporate job and she's an executive at her job. How? How old is Raven? Raven must have had great. You know what? I'm going out on a limb and say Raven must have had great test scores. Not test scores, but must have had a great GPA coming out of college to get an executive position. But hey, it could happen. I'm not knocking it. And then the fact that obviously this is something that she wants to do, so that's commendable. Because coming out of college, I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. So then Karen also lets her know that she's going to be the ambassador back there in Surrey, Indiana, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. She didn't really say what the ambassador was for. But congratulations to Karen on being the ambassador of Surrey, Indiana. Is that what it was? Or was it Virginia? I think it's Indiana. Surrey County. I can't remember where it is. Is it Indiana or is it Virginia or West? It's somewhere. Surrey County. Wherever the hell it is. I forgot. So then she also told Raven, and she wants Raven and her son Brandon to talk to Raymond and have him, she wants instead of getting a different band this year for their wedding anniversary, she wants to upgrade the rock. Go for it, Karen. Hopefully you can afford it. Oops, did I say that? Sorry, didn't mean to be that shady. Yes, I did. Let's move on. All right, guys, next up, let's talk about Mia. So we see Mia, like I said in last week's review, I'm still feeling Mia out, so I can't say 100% that I like Mia, and I can't say that I dislike Mia. I'm still in the process of feeling Mia out. What I will say is Mia, for me so far, is just a little flip-floppy. That's what I get from her. She's a little flip-floppy. She's a little, what's the other word I want to say? She's a little airy. She's a little bit on a dense. She talks airy. Because in this episode, she got me even more confused, and she's had me confused in previous episodes, right? So we see her, she's doing a walkthrough of one of her locations, and while she's doing her walkthrough, her son calls her, her older son, right? So he calls her and she says, "Are you, you got out of school? Did you go to school today?" He said, "Yes." Now, when she said, "Did you go to school today?" I'm like, how do you not know he went to school? First of all, it's a pandemic, so he's home. I'm pretty sure he's doing school from home. Unless you woke up before he went to school, maybe that's what it was. Maybe she woke up long before he went to school. I don't know, but I was just thinking to myself, like, how do you not know if he went to school? How do you not know that, right? So then she asked him, is he going to practice today? He says, yes. So she says, is it okay are you okay if Daddy G takes you? And Gordon was there listening, and he says, wait a minute. You were supposed to take him to practice today. She says, I know, but unfortunately I have, ooh, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in your face. She says, I have another appointment to go to, and I have a meeting that I need to prepare for tomorrow. He says, Gordon says that he doesn't mind doing this, but this is her third time doing this, and he just wants her to have a balance. Now, I'm really trying to think about how I feel about this situation, right? Because if the roles were reversed, right? If the roles were reversed, I'm just really thinking about how I feel about this one. Because if it was Gordon, and I don't know. I'm really trying to think about how I feel about this one. I don't really feel any way about it. I don't think that it's anything bad on Mia's part. I think maybe what could have happened is better communication. I'll say that. I think it could have been better communication on Mia's side. When she knew that she had an appointment that she needed to go to and she had a meeting that she needed to go to, I think Mia would have been better instead of waiting last minute. I think it would have been better for Mia to say, because Mia obviously knew that she pretty much knew that she had this stuff, unless it happened last minute. But even if it happened last minute, you could still reach out and say, "Hey, Gordon, so unfortunately, last minute something came up. I have a meeting that I have to go get prepared for tomorrow, and I also have an appointment that I need to go to." But obviously, the meeting she already knew about since it's tomorrow. She knew about the meeting, but I'm not gonna beat her up because if it was a man, nobody would beat a man up about that. They'd be like, "Oh, he's the man. He's out, making money for the family." So I'm not gonna come down hard on Mia at all. All I'll say is communication would have worked. Better communication, right? I think that would have been better. And then Gordon is saying it. Gordon is saying it in a sense that her son just likes that quality time with her. So I get that as well. But for me, I just think she would have been better off communicating with him. But let's move on. So then later in the episode, we see Mia. So she has Karen over to the house, right? And she and Karen are talking. And also, while they're having this conversation, we had Robin talking to Escala and to Wendy. And I'll talk about that one in just a little bit as well. So Karen is over to the house and they talk about, how with the party that they had for Ashley, they didn't really feel like it was pampering for Ashley. And Karen feels that, the ladies attacked Mia because of her friendship with the friendship between Mia and Karen, right? So she talks about how Robin is all up Giselle's bush. 100% agree with her about that one. And that's my gripe and grievance when it comes to boy Robin, is that she's always up under Saturn's ring's ass. Saturn's rings can handle her own battle. Let her deal with it, right? So then Mia tells Karen about the text message that was sent to her from Saturn's rings. And she told her what her response was. I'm going to talk about that with Robin. So we're going to move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. Now let's talk about boy Robin. So we see boy Robin, and she's going to work out with Escala and with Wendy, right? Now, when you look at them, I'm like, God, dog, how cold was it? Because, they are covered up. Like, I've worked out in the cold in the winter before. Here in Texas, I've definitely done it. But I cover myself up completely head to toe. Like, you can't see me. I'm like, but how are they working out? But even then, I can't even do a whole workout. Like, I go for a walk, and I can't even get a whole walk in when it's like super cold outside. Because my fingers will get cold. Anything on my body, it's my fingers and my face that get cold the fastest. So while they're out walking, they get a call from Candace. Candace is inviting them over to a party at the townhouse because at this point, the townhouse is sold. So Candace is having basically a goodbye party to the townhouse, right? So she tells them that, she's invited all the girls to the party, including Mia. So boy Robin, she feels some type of way, right? So once she hangs up the phone with Candace, she tells Escala and Wendy about the conversation that happened with Mia. So she tells them what the text message was, about them, her and Saturn's rings, wanting to, sit down with Wendy, sit down with Mia and, get to know Mia outside of Karen, which, like I said before, I don't see anything wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to sit down with her, get to know her on a one-on-one level without Karen. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they were wrong for that. But to put a stipulation on it saying that, we want to go out with you, but don't bring Karen. Well, first of all, you can't tell me who I can and cannot bring. If I want to bring my friend, I'm going to bring my friend. Now, for me, let me insert myself because I cannot believe that I'm about to sit here and semi-defend Saturn's rings and boy Robin, right? So we all know that more specifically Saturn's rings. Boy Robin just inserts herself for no fucking reason, right? So Saturn's rings has an issue with Karen, right? So I get it. I would like to get to know me. So I'm Saturn's rings. I want to get to know you outside of Karen. because at this point, Karen and I have an issue with each other. I don't want to sit down with Karen, period. So I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna be like, hey, I want to sit down with you. I want to get to know you, just you, and Robin will join us as well. And then if when he texts back, we're like, hey, can I bring Karen? I would actually prefer that you don't bring her because me and her ain't rock with each other right now, and I don't want to sit across from her. I don't want to sit anywhere near her at this point. So I would actually I would prefer it if you didn't bring her. But if you bring her, guess what? I'm not staying. Period, point blank. I'm not staying because I don't want to be in a room with the person that I don't like. And that's how I would say it. You're free to bring her, but I prefer that you don't bring her because she and we're not rocking with each other. Like, I just don't want to be in that kind of situation where I have to interact with somebody that I'm not rocking with at this point, right? They could have said that. Now, Mia, your response was nasty as fuck. Your response was really nasty. So her response was, unless you want to discuss business, there is nothing I have time to talk to you about. And if you do want to discuss business, I can give you my assistant's information so that way she can pencil you in. You know what? Ooh, Mia is lucky that it was Boy Robin and Saturn's Rings. I would have cussed her from here to next year. Like, first of all, who the fuck you think you talking to? I didn't come at you rude, and I didn't come at you in any kind of rude, disrespectful way. Don't come at me like that. First and foremost, who the fuck are you talking to? You don't, unless I want to discuss business, there's nothing I have time to talk to you about. Well, guess what, boo? You can catch this block. Number one, I'm gonna respond to you, and then I'm gonna block you. And then when it comes to filming, I'm like, fuck her. Get her away from me. It's like, she told me in a text message that, she ain't got time to talk to me. So guess what? You ain't got time to talk to me? Guess what? I don't have time to film with you. Like, I would have went off. I would have went left on Mia. I would have went completely left on her because that was, as much as I don't like those two, that was rude. And even still with what Saturn's Ring said, it wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't disrespectful. She just literally said to you she did not want you to bring Karen. You could have had a different response to her than that. That was the rudest response ever. Literally what you could have said was, hey, Saturn's Rings, I appreciate you inviting me out to, drinks. But what I don't appreciate is I feel that you are trying to dictate and tell me who I can and cannot bring to, dinner with me. And that I don't appreciate. Now, say something like that. I don't appreciate you talking to me. I don't appreciate that response by telling me who I can and cannot bring to lunch. But, if you don't want Karen around, that's fine. But you could phrase it you could have phrased that better than what you did. So, and then Robin chimed in, and Mia was a little snappy with Boy Robin. Like, her response was nasty, and I can't believe I'm defending those two. God dog. But her response was nasty. But let's move on. All right, you guys, next let's talk about Candace real quick, right? So we see Candace, and she's in the studio, and the song that she's working on is actually really sounded good. I would actually buy it. Actually, answer me the question, because I have not listened to her latest single that she released on premiere night. I haven't listened to it. Let me know if that's the song that she was singing in the studio. She tells us that she's working on her album. I'm like, okay, I'll actually give it a listen. It's so interesting. I know what bothers me with Potomac Housewives fans is the fact that some of y'all, not all of you guys, and not my subscribers, but the people that I be seeing, because my cousin has me in this Facebook group, and these people got to be at least 30, 40 plus. And the way that they talk about Candace is disgusting. I don't like her, but the vitriol that these people have for this girl, I'm like, damn. You would think that Monique is y'all best friend. You would think that y'all know Monique personally. You would think that y'all were on set filming with them, because they talk about Candace's mouth, how reckless it is. Yes, her mouth is reckless. Okay. Who else mouth is not reckless on these housewives shows? That's what we watch it for. The shade. Nene has thrown shade in the past. Kim threw shade on, Kim, Kenya, Portia, Shamari threw shade on her season of Atlanta Housewives. Like, that's what we watch it for, the shade and the drama. And then when somebody has a lethal tongue, y'all have an issue with it. Like, I'm not sitting here advocating for Candace by no means, but damn, it just be it be the Facebook groups that I see, it be Instagram. Like last year, it was so fucked up. She wished her, and I said it on one of my reviews, Candace wished her friend a happy birthday, and somebody got in the comment section of her comment, and it was a beautiful post for her friend, right? Somebody goes up under the comment section and mentions fucking Monique. And I commented under that person. I'm like, why would you do that? This girl was wishing her friend a happy birthday, and you bring this bullshit up? Like, get a life. And like I said, with the Facebook group, like, it's just, the comments are disgusting as hell. They talk about she deserved what she got, this, and it's just the nastiest comments I've ever saw in my life. And these are people that, and somebody was arguing with me recently about the colorism thing with her. They're talking about there's no colorism on the show. Yes, there is. I'm not discussing it. We're not talking about it. I don't want to even get into that conversation again because I was irritated with that conversation. But they say that the most disgusting things about her. And then she was on Watch What Happens Live. I believe it was last Sunday she was on Watch What Happens Live, right? And she was on there with Nima from Shaw's of Sunset. And Andy had her play a game where she sang, right? She was singing, some comments that they made on the show, and Nima would have to guess who said it. Candace sang it, she did a good job with this. She sounded so good. And then if you go under the comments on the YouTube channel, once again, nasty comments. Like, you give her a compliment, but then you give her a backhanded ass compliment. You say she can sing, but this. She can sing, but this. The but negates the compliment, right? Well, whatever, right? So Candace said that she didn't sign with Chucky last season, just for her own personal reasons, but she's funding her own career. Like I said, let me know in the comment section, you guys. I did not mean to go off on that rant, but it just annoys me seeing grown ass people act like kids. And you know what? I think I'm actually about to take myself out of that Facebook group. I think I am. Or I just might not even look at the Potomac comments. That might be what it is. Because any other show is not that bad. The only show that I see that have negative comments is Atlanta and Potomac. Like you would literally think that these people know these women on a personal level. If you don't know these women on a personal level, if you weren't there with filming, just be like, I'm not a fan of hers and leave it at that. I don't give a shit, but let's move on. So all the ladies start to show up to Candace's townhouse. So when they get there, she wants them to take a shot of Fireball. Karen, I was like, oh, is Karen gonna take this full shot? She didn't, because I remember what happened last season with Karen and the Fireball shot, right? So Robin shows up after that. I'm like, damn, Robin is on time. They must be finding Robin's ass with these events. They must be finding the shit out of her. So Karen asked Robin, how is she? Robin was, kind of not really wanting to talk to Karen. And she asked her, what about the wedding? Now, see, here's another situation where I'm going to defend Robin. Jesus Christ. So Karen is talking about her wedding with Ray, right? Karen's going to have an intimate wedding. That's fine, do you. If Robin doesn't want to get married in this pandemic, I'm not going to sit here and blame Robin. I mean, we tore into Cynthia for having her pandemic wedding. Robin is being smart. Robin is being responsible. And she's like, what about the justice of the peace? Robin doesn't want to change her plans just because of COVID. I respect that. Karen, if you want to have an intimate wedding, girl, do it. You cannot tell Robin how she has to get married. That ain't got shit to do with you. Then Saturn's rings show up, right? I'm talking about the hater is here. Yes, the hater is here in you. I know she was shading Karen, but girl, you a hater too. So Wendy shows up. I'm like, oh, Wendy, yes, show off that body. I mean, you paid for it, you better show it off at any cost. Girl, You go to the mailbox, have them titties on display and that ass on display. You go to the car wash, boom. Go to the grocery store, boom. They gonna be on display everywhere I go except for work. Even work, they might be on display. So then Mia shows up as well, right? Actually, before that, they talked, right? And, Saturn's rings, she's talking about the text message that Mia sent, right? And Karen's like, well, Karen was defending Mia. And like I said, I get both hands of it. I get both sides of it, right? I got Mia's point of view, but I also got the other two's point of view. But I still think, I still err on the caution that Mia was just a little bit disrespectful and rude, right? So then she comes and they discuss it. And Mia says, well, you know what? Maybe I was a bit aggressive. Nah, baby, you want to know a bit aggressive. You were. Then Escala says, there's a lot of delusions in here. And Mia says, Escala, how many businesses do you have? And I was actually with Boy Robin. What they got to do with anything? How many businesses she have? Now, then they got into a whole argument. I'm like, girl, it ain't that deep. It really ain't that deep. So then Mia goes up to Giselle, Saturn's rings, to make amends. Said they got off on the wrong foot. And Giselle says, no, that was you. God, you got me agreeing with her. It was you, Mia. You got off on the wrong foot. Because you have been two-faced. So that's why I have an issue with Mia. Mia's been two-faced. I don't dislike the woman, but she's two-faced as fuck. But she says she'll work on her delivery, right? So then they go into the living room and they play Never Have I Ever. Mia, you need to learn your anatomy. So they asked who had a threesome. Never have I ever had a threesome. Mia took a sip. So Mia had a threesome with Gordon and another woman. She didn't want the woman to touch her. She wanted to watch them. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I guess to each his own, right? So then Candace was being shady. Like she said, never have I ever got my clit done, right? So Mia drank. Then not Wendy, but Boy Robin said she looked into that, and Mia says, "Oh no, it wasn't my clit. It was my I got vaginal rejuvenation." I'm like, vaginal rejuvenation. Oh my God. So you don't know the difference between your vagina and your clitoris? You don't know anatomy, huh? You know that the clitoris is up at the top, right? And the vagina is, okay. How does she not know where her clit and her vagina is? I don't know. But that's all I got for you guys. Be sure to like the video. Leave your comments in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. And hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified of when I drop anything else. And share the video. Until the next one, you guys, please stay safe out there. Please take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands. Wear a mask or not, but please wear a mask. And social distance, you guys, and be blessed. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye. I hate this thing.